You think you're prejudiced?
Yep. Against who?
Well, let's see. Chevy Neons that cost $12,000 to buy, but have $8,000 paint jobs and 9 spits inside them smoking weed. That's one thing.
Okay, now listen. The term spick. That's okay. I'll spick. Well, see, that's really not
crazy chink bars who don't know how to drive in the first place, and now they got cell phones stuck in their ears while they're doing 65 miles an hour down 6th Avenue. Right? The crazy chinks on bikes with 10 pounds of Chinese food strapped to the handlebars.
Okay, now see, the word chink is what I like to call a problem word.
If I were a chink, I'd rather be called a chink.
Okay, now hold on, listen to me, please. Chinese people would not like to be called blue or chink or pan face or zipper head.
See, that's another thing. I mean, Puerto Ricans, we get shafted even when it comes to racism. Chinks got what? Like 4 ethnic slurs? We get one. Spick. That's it. The Irish, they got Mick, Paddy, Donkey. Italians, they got Guinea, Bop, Dago.
Spaghetti bender.
Spaghetti bender went out of style during Sinatra's first match.
Greaseball?
Greaseball. There you have it. That's 4.
That's right. You know what? Same thing with the Jews, right? Eve, Pike, Jew Boy, Benny.
Shylock.
That's 5.
Yeah. Black, forget about it. Spear Chucker, Jungle Bunny, Raisin Head, Porch Monkey, Spook,
Shine,
Tar Baby.
Yeah. It's endless. Totally unfair.
Yeah.
As promised, after a conversation that Trey and I had with Jay Forte last night playing video games.
Did you guys get banned from some servers?
No, we were talking about 90s comic books and like the endless like ammo pouches and stuff, and like the way that like 90s characters were so over the top. And there was one X Factor character called Strong Guy, and he was just this massive like strong guy, like that was literally it. But his name was Guido, and so we were talking about like Italian slurs and stuff. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna run the intro with from Rescue Me where they go through all the different slurs.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes real life carries over to the show.
That's where we get the ideas for all this stellar content we put out.
Sometimes the pre-show conversations are better than some of the actual conversations on the show. Like nobody who's watching this is ever going to know anything about what goes on in my basement.
Not unless they find themselves in the unfortunate position of being there.
Well, or they or they just pay for the OnlyFans, you know, and then
that's right. You get all of the all-fair content on if you subscribe to our OnlyFans. OnlyFans.com/themorningafter6969.
Platinum tier members get the 24-hour feed to the basement. So. I don't know if that's how OnlyFans works. I'm just guessing.
We'll go with yes. I know that Patreon does tiers. I don't know if OnlyFans does or not. They should.
They do. They do.
Trey knows all about it. Please tell us how this works. It's funny that
so you can buy the feet pics, or you can buy the.
It's funny that was not intended to be a porn site, but then that's what it became. And then they tried to like rebrand, and they were like, "All right, we're not going to allow this stuff anymore." And then they got like a massive uprising of all of their content creators and people who subscribe. They're like, "No, if you do this, we're all going away." And they're like, "Never mind, we're just kidding. We just wanted to test to see how degenerate you fuckers really are."
They know where their bread's buttered. I don't think they seriously wanted to like get rid of it, but they at least showed that they cared. You know, they're like, oh well, people don't want it to go away, but I mean, they can look at the numbers. I mean, they know where they're making their money. You know, there's no way they actually wanted to get rid of the porn. Isn't there what was it called a few years back? Some sort of law or something where it's like the people who like the website is responsible for. So like Craigslist, for instance, you know what I mean? If you pick up a hooker through Craigslist, then Craigslist is technically responsible. Wasn't there what was it called? Something. You guys look like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of what it was called.
It's like a human trafficking thing. Anyhow,
well, that came out of the Ross Ulbricht thing, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I
think that was all he did was run a website. So like they had to use that to basically get him for for the site that he had created.
Yeah, maybe they use that as the precursor for the ones to follow.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's like a human trafficking.
You still don't know how involved he was with any of this stuff. I mean, like a lot of people just assume he's innocent, but I don't know. Like, you don't know like with how much people dig their like dip their toes into really muddy waters.
Or the
Clyde is. Oh, there he is. I was saying, it looks like Clyde's on the other side of the shower door. But
Vaseline is lens.
I don't know what's going on, man.
You're clear. You're coming in. You're coming in hot now. We got you.
I know. I just
That sounds like somebody just let like a 2-minute fart. Just.
I'm gonna assume there's a dog in the room.
I thought it was horny mole.
Oh, there it is. There's a chick or a rooster.
There's a rooster in the back, and there's 2 dogs on the bed. So.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. What, Wayne? Oh, I think I can take a guess at who that is.
Who the coyote is?
Well, I mean, I was gonna say Facebook user, but could be one and the same. I mean,
probably.
It's a Roger Smith scenario. I hope when we get there, it's not me.
Remember when that one Democrat posted the picture of an actual coyote? She was like, "How you gonna tell me?" Because it was a black chick. She was like, "How you gonna tell me a coyote is carrying people across the border?" It's like, oh my gosh, this is public education at its finest. Like, holy fuck!
I learned.
I couldn't tell if it was a meme. I couldn't tell if it was a meme, like if they were trolling or if they were legit.
100% serious. That was a.
No, that's a Kamala quote.
That was a senator, congressperson of some sort. Like she is an elected official, not just a random dumbass. Like actual elected official. This is why people need to get out of cities, because those are the people that are being elected to represent you. Speaking of,
Guam was going to flip over, and that guy's still there. So.
Isn't he the representative for your district?
No, I mean he's like one of the ones in Atlanta. He is out of Georgia though. I mean,
Atlanta gets like 6 of them, don't they?
I don't know. Atlanta sucks. Gwinnett County grew in the last 3 years by like 20,000 people.
I think they
and all
tried
I
to
see is
redistrict
little
it, like,
blue. Like, I don't know, man. It just sucks. These people they're ruining the state, cities. Go back to your dumpster you left.
When they're being incentivized to mass reproduce, then the population is going to continue to grow exponentially.
Especially whenever you don't have to be accountable for the children. Like it's just That's why like I was thinking like if you really want to fix like a lot of this stuff, like the tax credit for children needs to only be for couples. Like if you make that simple change. Like
no, nobody needs a tax credit for children. You made a choice to have a child. You don't get no tax credits.
Whatever. That's the only reason I had them. Take that away from me.
You want some money back at the end of the year, and then you can go buy rims. That's the way it works down here. I don't know. I don't know if that's the way it works up there, but yeah, whatever money you get back in taxes, it goes. That's your rim fund for the year.
See, around here, it's a lift kit. You gotta get a lift kit on your truck. If you don't have a lift kit on your truck, you obviously have a huge penis.
Man, those are like the biggest tickets at the stereo shop that I sometimes work at is the fucking trucks, dude. I mean, these dudes come in. I mean, the rim, suspension, lighting, and then the audio system. And we're talking 5, 8, 10 grand, easy. And that's kind of like our so keeps us going these days.
Yes.
Oh,
here we've got this,
fronts up. Yeah, I hate that shit. I like a nice.
Here we've got some sort of a
I feel
truck
like it's gonna
club
roll
or something.
backwards when you're going up a hill.
They all ride around and they've got like the thing on their back window. Their truck club. It's like Sinful Rides or something, and they're all like these jacked up, pimped out trucks. Except they're all like early 2000s models, and the body looks like it's about to fall apart. But it's got like all of the lift and the wheels and all of the shit that's on it is probably worth like twice what the truck itself is worth. Like you could probably go buy a nice truck for what they've spent to make these like piece of shit 2004 Chevy Silverado look insane. Like why would you
not buying the lift? If you're not buying the full lift kit, you obviously you at least have.
You're gonna do the other half later.
Yeah,
it's the installment plan. Or it's they leased it and they or whatever, and they didn't end up paying it back, so they came and repoed the half that they didn't they hadn't paid for yet. I had people not, when I was up in Maryland for a job, it was kind of a little ritzier part of town than where I come from, and they did not believe me that we had wheel rental stores. They didn't believe me that existed. And I was like, yeah, rent and roll, it's huge, you know. And then they also didn't believe me that people did like use 2x4s to do cheap lifts on like their donks and their trucks and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, they definitely do that. They're like, no, nobody would be that crappy. And I'm like, oh, you live in a far wider part of the country than I do. And I'm not even saying it's white people who do this shit too. It's just, you know, they just live in a very nice part of Maryland. So it's like, yeah, lucky you, you know. You get to work on all nice cars. Oh well.
I don't know, man. None of my cars. No. I have 2 cars that are 06s. You know.
Do you have any that don't run?
I don't.
Do you have any that are sitting on blocks?
Yeah, that's how you know it's the real,
not at this time.
Real hood area. You got cars on blocks. It's either hood or white trash area, like trailer park trash area.
Yeah.
You got cars on blocks. And dogs barking in the background.
It's that the neighborhood sounds like that, basically. Yeah.
That's all you hear all night long, like dogs fighting. You know, like,
we got some,
and you don't know if the dogs are fighting like on their own or if you actually
fight ring. Yeah. Oh.
We got some neighbors around the corner that they build demolition derby cars, and so their whole lot out there is just like, I mean, it looks like
destroyed.
Yeah, it looks like a car graveyard. Like just all of these like stripped down cars and stuff, like sitting out there on blocks. Most of them don't have engines in them or anything. Like it's crazy. I told Stephanie whenever people start to like die or move, we're just gonna buy like all the property around here, and I'm gonna get a big ass like track hoe or something, and just bury everything. Just gonna doze it all and bury it all and turn it all into just like farmland.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, where I grew up, there was a, like, you know, they used to have like, just, it's probably like 3 acres of like busted cars, and you could go like, you know, get a hood here, maybe they had a door handle if you needed one, like, you know. And they got into like demo car stuff, and they would always, you'd see it come in on like Monday, and it'd be all smashed up, and you know, they'd get it fixed up, and they'd have all the parts for it. But I don't know. I miss those days. You could go get like a, you know, gas cap for like nothing.
Heck yeah, if you got in a fender bender or something and needed to replace your hood or your bumper or whatever, you just go to the junkyard.
Pulls here. Yeah. Terrifying. They're like, you're not allowed to use jacks, you know, or anything like that, you know. So there's just these cars on like these little stands with no wheels on them, and it's like, yeah, get on up under there and get your part out, you know.
Yeah, you know,
you had to bring your own tools. They weren't providing you tools or anything. Like you had to actually know what you were doing.
They'll let you use a wheelbarrow though, you know.
That's right.
Loan you one of them. I always wanted to go to a demolition derby. Like as a kid, it seemed like the coolest thing in the world to me. We had a track, you know, local to us, where we go to the races sometimes, you know, the small stock car races. But the coolest thing that I ever saw, but no cool crashes, was they had a figure 8. They opened up the figure 8 track for one race one time, and that was kind of cool. Those guys had some fucking balls.
Neat.
Yeah, when you're crossing, like,
yeah, dude. Yeah, it was. I mean, they were timing it. You know, I mean, they were not slowing down and barely making it in a couple instances. You know, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I see. Like deliberately dangerous. It's like they're just trying to create opportunity for a wreck with this thing.
They're trying to get asses in them seats.
Hell yeah! Like everybody's here for one purpose, and it's not to watch the cars actually go around the track. It's to watch what happens in that intersection.
There's a
Not watching
90%.
who wins.
90% of the races are boring, and then you get this one like 10-minute race they do with the figure eight. Towards the end of the night. Got to keep you there.
Yeah, see, I would go watch Dega, like Talladega.
None.
Like Talladega was great because like there's always some wreck. Like it doesn't matter when you go, like which race you go see. There's always a wreck, and it's a big one usually. Like there was one that was literally like half
YouTube
half
and
of the
stuff
cars.
though. You got YouTube now. You can just go run a 5-minute reel of wrecks, and you don't have to like wait for all that crap.
Really takes the magic out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's the thing is it's not just the for the races like that. It's not just the satisfaction of it. It's the anticipation and the suspense of when's it going to happen because it's going to happen. Like you're just sitting there hoping for
and
it.
it's going to happen.
Where's
when you
the big one? And you see like one of them spin around and it's like, oh, this guy it's just one. Oh man. Like, and then all of a sudden you see 20 of them pop up and you're like, yes, that was the one.
I think it happens sometimes, to answer the question. Not often. I think that there's been some F1 guys who have gotten into NASCAR and like fucking dominated, but I don't follow that closely.
I think he means do like redneck NASCAR fans.
Oh, I thought you meant the drivers. Like, did they
get
promoted to F1?
More or less, no. There are some people who just like racing of all kinds, but for the most part, NASCAR fans don't like Formula One. That's the hoity-toity highbrow shit.
And vice versa. Formula One fans are like, we do more than left turns.
It's not real racing.
Is F1 where they like they race around through
it's like road courses, but they have the Indy cars.
Like road.
Yeah, it's just the creme de la creme of drivers and technology.
They're the ones that drive the F-16 with wheels attached to it.
Yeah, it's just it's if you can put a human in a car and make it go as fast as possible, it's F1. Like that's
like 220 miles an hour, like
taking 90-degree turns at 140. For no reason at all. Just
usually people with Italian sounding last names.
Like, and that's just another reason why like white people are this think about what that does for climate change. All the emissions and stuff that just
they changed them to electric cars.
I thought you were going to say something way different than that. Okay,
they changed them to electric cars. So
look, the quarterbacks, they're Formula One drivers. I mean, come on, you do the math. All right. It seems like South America, like Brazil, are kind of people, kind of end up being good race car drivers. Maybe that's also like Spain.
It's tiny. You can put them in a little car, like you don't need like leg room. Just
it's like the Spain and the French and the like I don't know, I guess
Italian,
yeah.
You say Italian before French,
like
please.
Do they have specific races for like cars, like a specific model? Like I'd love to see like a bunch.
There's
of
a lot of different types.
Oh yeah, man.
Racing around or something,
I mean, anything like that. You look at some like the vintage car racing too, and it's it's dudes. I mean, it's just dudes. The shit ain't on TV for the most part. But yeah, I mean, like there's I live close to Sebring, and it's a big racetrack. We used to go for the 12 hours of Sebring from time. It's every year, but they do races there all year. But yeah, man, I'm sure I've been actually thinking about like looking it up and seeing just what kind of races go on there and probably go camp and watch them. But yeah, man, they do everything from like, so they've got specific stock cars and they've got particular classes, but they do have very specific like races where everybody has to have like the exact same fucking car basically. And that's where it really comes down to driver skill,
that would be enjoyable to watch. I think like bunch of like VW buses or the bugs, little 1970s bugs, like
school bus races are
how many clowns can you fit in the back? Like, are they? Yeah. That would be fun.
Lawnmower races
they gotta roll, right?
Lawnmower races. those are the funniest things.
It's funny.
I just watched my neighbors.
The guy that like a former boss, or he was the operations manager, and I was the assistant operations manager. He did the lawnmower racing. Like he had one that was all and he was a big dude too. But he had one that was all like souped up and had like stacks on it, and like that thing would pop a wheelie and just like it's fucking awesome looking. Like, you can mow your yard in an hour and a half flat, just whole thing, all 2 acres done.
I want to sit down with a lawnmower racer and just sort of pick their brains about like the logistics of the sport. You know, I've got some like, you know, like what I mean. Does it still have to be geared a certain way? I mean, what is it that still keeps it a lawnmower? You know, why can't I just throw a fucking 4-banger Chevy motor in that thing?
Gotta
Like,
leave
what?
the blades on there.
They do.
Right,
though.
blades. Does it have to be able to mow? Is it? Can you take the deck off? And maybe there's different classes, you know, of racing. I don't know. Oh, oh did it.
No deck with blades.
That was great.
Well, that's like they should have to. That should be part of the races too. Is like, all right,
You gotta mow the yard.
Yeah, you drag race, but then you also have the like mowing competition where they
But
set
not
aside,
only
like,
speed, but form and
they
function.
set aside like 50 square yards, and you have to like see who can actually mow it the fastest and who gets like the cleanest cut. Because if it's, you know, if it's uneven, funky looking, then
Oh, you missed a strip there, buddy.
Yeah, left a
Get the
tall
guys out
spot,
from,
like
like, the
running
golf
right through the
team
middle
and-
of it.
You need to take some
Look
air
at
out
the
of the left
grass.
tire, man. You're getting a little uneven mowing. Yeah, there you go. It's probably where that joke I stole came from. Oh, fuck.
Well, we have not covered anything that I had pulled up for today, and that's kind of fine. Anyway.
Did I really see a headline that guy got arrested or is set to get arrested, or was that not real?
Indicted. I
Yeah,
think.
Really?
Was there arrest? Yeah.
Well, I think it said something like if he goes to
They're
New
saying he
York or something.
He's already
Yeah,
out
he
of
went.
New York. Like,
yeah,
he went to New York.
They had to. So the thing that he had talked about last week was how
Oh, he had to
insane it
remand.
was that like they did the whole thing, like the indictment, and they had it set that he had to be there on Friday, and his legal team was like, that's a physical impossibility. Like, coordination and everything has to be made with his secret security or his Secret Service detail and everything else. Like, we can't just like, this isn't like some regular person being told they have to show up for court. Like, there's a lot of coordination that has to happen with this. Like, we cannot physically have him there on Friday.
Yeah,
So
this
like
is
that was
someone
a
with
big.
private jets, not like a regular person who just has the ability to get wherever they want instantly. You know what I mean? This really takes somebody like this with all these means so much more time.
So anyway, he showed
I
up.
was just
for
saying,
his,
I'm not arguing with you. It's just funny.
He showed
Yeah.
up for his arraignment yesterday. Yes, in his private jet.
Look, you've got to have the schedule for the private jet. He's got to clear it with the FAA. You know,
Got to make sure the mini bar on the jet is fully stocked. I mean, you can't fly from Florida to New York.
mini bar. What are we talking about here? The mini. You think Donald Trump is really eating off the mini bar? You know he's getting McDonald's delivered to the
Well, that's what I meant. The mini bar fries KFC on the plane. It's it's just this is what they call
Well, see,
it.
that's probably part of why he had to have so much like pre-planning done, is because McDonald's is probably giving him some problems with his travel plans. McDonald's
I saw
closes
this.
U.S. offices as it prepares to inform workers of layoffs.
Now, I didn't actually read the article because, I think I saw it this morning and I didn't have a long enough poop session. But is it just I thought I read like in the blurb that it was like corporate employees. Is that mostly the case? They're not like closing restaurants, right?
No, most of
Not
their
yet.
restaurants are franchises. Like they're privately or individually owned and operated. This is their corporate offices, and there's rumors that they're going to be laying off anywhere from between 70 and 90% of their corporate employees. Which, I mean, if the overwhelming majority of your stores are independently owned and operated, why do you need some massive corporate staff? Like, the business seems to run itself for the most part. Like, you need enough people to make sure that the franchises are paying their franchise fees and stuff like that.
Then,
And,
sticking to
come
the
up with
rules.
marketing, a marketing team. But do you really need marketing for fucking McDonald's. I mean, it's kind of like, like they're not allowed to advertise cigarettes anymore, and cigarette sales are, it's not like the cigarette companies are going out of business or anything. So,
well, there is like they do need to promo like new products and stuff like that. So
they don't make new products. They took the crispy chicken sandwich and rebranded it as the McCrispy. They bring back the McRib once or twice a year. Like
put barbecue sauce on this burger.
People have to know.
P Diddy fucking number 4. Well, you guys know what like McDonald's like actual business is real estate. Like you guys are familiar with that, right? Like all the McDonald's owns the land and the franchisee leases it from them. So yeah, I mean that's the business, or the real business. So it's like, yeah, I figured it probably doesn't take that many people to run that shit. It is fascinating.
Just several property managers.
Well, and then I mean it's like the franchisee really takes care of it. They just have the deed to the dirt underneath the store,
And they're making somebody hand over fist. Like they're not doing these layoffs because they're going broke. It's what did it say? Fourth quarter net income in 2022 was 1.9 billion, which was up from 1.6 billion during the same quarter the year prior. Sales rose 10.3% for the company. Like they're doing fine. I think they've just figured out that they don't need all of these people working at their corporate offices.
Mm-hmm. Who was the person on the Bud Light can?
Oh, dag.
Sorry, I just brought it up because Facebook user here mentioned it, but I don't know who the person is.
It's our favorite
it's Dylan?
Favorite girl. Yeah, our favorite girl from our intro.
That's fucking hilarious.
The most deep fake troll on the internet. Dylan Mulvaney.
Did you guys catch the Kid Rock video?
Yes.
Is it worth watching?
I mean,
it's 4 minutes or 4 seconds. I mean, it's not that long. We could pull it up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull it up
handy, Justin, or you want me to find it?
Yeah, I don't have it handy. I've actually got a couple other videos that I've got queued up for if the conversation moves in a certain direction.
So
there we go.
Who like
did you stop talking or are you still talking?
No, I was waiting for the video.
Yeah, say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible.
Like that MP5.
Fuck Bud Light and fuck Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Somebody did point out though that even though he says this, that his like he has a restaurant or something like that, and they're still serving Bud Light. So
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, come on, let's not go nuts. It's not gonna. There's money to be made.
But on that same note, how much actual like involvement does he have with his restaurant?
But
I
think he was wearing the shirt.
I feel like that's.
Wait, was
I mean, it's Bud Light, right? Like you can jump over to Coors Light or Miller Light, or like there's a bunch of
gross.
but they're all the same. It's all the same. Busch Light, Natty Light, Keystone Light, like
no,
it's all there. Yeah, it's all the same. If you're drinking piss in a can, you drink piss in a can. Like,
well, yeah, but some piss in a can's way more tolerable than other piss in a can. I mean, think about the diet of the person you're getting the piss from. That's all. I mean, it could be different person to person, right?
Yeah, Jay Forte is right. Like the Anheuser-Busch like owns a lot of these brands. So like,
I don't know. I looked up their
InBev bought
I looked
them.
up their
Yeah,
brand
I was
index.
gonna say,
Like,
isn't it
I went through their whole list of all the different brands that they own, and I didn't find a single one that I actually drink anyway. So I think I've been boycotting Anheuser-Busch this whole time because I couldn't find a single beer on any of their brand listings that is something that I'll ever put in my refrigerator. So
I feel like this is Yangling sucks. This is something though that I think like it's like the NASCAR thing. Like these are like these aren't middle of the road folk that are gonna like, just okay. I feel like this is gonna irritate like a lot of people enough that they're gonna say, okay, I'll find another beer to consume. And if you're
I just
drinking
don't
Bud
know
Light,
why
you
you
probably
pay for
find-
problem,
Bud Light
though-
when Busch Light is available for way cheaper. That's all.
So
But see, like it doesn't at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like all the boycott stuff is stupid because all these companies they're basically handshaking each other, and it's all
yeah, I know, but
a
it's
big
the
game.
point. It's the point.
So it doesn't
It's
matter.
making
Like
You can't get Yingling in Texas.
that's a good thing for Texas.
We just watched Smokey and the Bandit, and that's they're trying to bring you can't bring Coors across the Mississippi back then, so they were technically bootlegging. So they had to go retrieve the Coors from Texarkana and bring it back to Georgia, right? How's the song go? He's bound to die.
Coors
It's a very descriptive song. Yeah.
I took a tour of the Coors plant out in Golden several years ago. It's pretty cool. They were working on Keystone at the time, and the tour guide assured us that Keystone is not just the leftovers of Coors Light that they then bottle and have the lesser product. Like Keystone is actually its own thing that they make it deliberately. It's like, yeah, but what's your run order? Like you make the Coors and then you make the Keystone. So like I know how sketchy it works. You run the lesser product after the good one. That way, you could just use the dregs and
They just clean out all the pipes and everything too.
that's right.
Put a little bleach in there and it just cleans it all right up.
Is that what Miller High Life is? Is that like Miller Lite's leavings?
It's all of it. MGD.
High Life used to be my cheap
Miller.
beer, man. You go get a fucking quart for like $1.49.
Champagne.
Oh, yeah.
beers.
Oh yeah.
What
That
is
gets you where you
is-
need to go.
Is it
Back to
Michelob
blunt?
is on the I'm pretty sure Michelob is the one that's on the Anheuser-Busch. I had tried Michelob Ultra one time because my brother would drink it. I was
Why?
like, this is literally just
Why would you do
water.
that?
Like
So
it's
bad.
not even
It's
not
Mormon
even
beer.
So many people drink it. So it's like I've had it several times because you're at somebody. Oh, you want a beer? And it's like, yeah, thanks. And it's
I would be
just
embarrassed
water.
to give somebody that.
if you're
Water.
counting calories while drinking beer, you're like there's a level of faggotry that I can't even begin to describe that goes on with that. Like,
Just break out the wine. I'll drink some wine. Red wine.
well,
White wine's
you
gross.
might have to drink
Carl
wine.
Ronson. Trevor Carl Ronson.
oh fuck, what is this?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to drink a lot of wine
This
for
looks
this.
like an SNL
Create a
lineup.
2S LGBTQI+ community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a
that
penalty
Veruca?
of $25,000 if prosecuted
Willy Wonka?
successfully.
This isn't an SNL bit.
No,
That's exactly what I thought.
It's Canadian.
Oh,
It's Canadian.
oh, the kids in the hall bit.
That poor kidnapped girl on the left. Like, yeah,
Oh, look at her. She can't
She
run
looks-
fast.
she looks
That's not
so
a girl.
uncomfortable. Yeah, the only reason she's up there is because she's the one kid that couldn't run away. Like, remember the
And
you see the
lured her in
article-
with tasty
the
treats.
article that like the forestry or wildlife and forestry department put out a few months ago that said, like if you're running from a bear, don't trip your fat friend. Like, this is the kid that got tripped whenever they were being chased by these people.
So it says Canadian politician, can't pronounce that, who uses the pseudo pronouns they, them, proposes legislation to criminalize offensive remarks within 100 meters of a drag queen story hour. Oh.
What is
Pretty
all
sure
that
the
stand for?
range
Two
on everything in that closet is more than
LGBTSI
100
plus.
meters.
Do we even
What?
know what that stuff stands for anymore?
At 2S LGBTQ IA plus. I don't know. There's too many. What's the two
LMNFO.
for? How are we getting? Where did numbers come into play? We've
We
already,
just-
I thought two was supposed to be a
FAFO.
thing.
Like,
Need a rainbow flag that just says everything else on it.
It's a black flag because it's all the colors mixed together. Maybe a brown flag. That's the everything else.
That would probably be Usually everything mixes together is some kind of like black or brown. So,
Yeah,
Crap,
I mean,
brown, yeah. Looks like poop.
Well, you're not supposed to say it out loud, dude.
All right, you want to see some fucked up shit?
Be subtle here.
So Bud Light hits back as transphobes lose their minds over Dylan Mulvaney partnership.
Oh,
so
I like his hair.
That's what happens when you have millions of dollars. Like,
yeah, man.
Is that fake? It's got to be a wig, right?
Very movie star-ish.
That's what I thought. And that's
It's going for that Audrey Hepburn look, right?
Yeah.
Why does his head look so big? Is he anorexic?
Because he's a little skinny fucker. Like,
I think he's anorexic. He needs to get help.
This is the kid
that evening gown somehow.
This is the kid that everybody picked on. Like, look at that. That's fucking terrifying. Like, what's going on here?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
Looks like something out of a fucking comic book from the 90s.
Like just paint over with Joker paint on the face.
Yeah,
and
Joker face, Joker paint face, Joker face paint, and you got it.
Oh man, I hope that he goes on like a crazy like shooting rampage one day. You know what I mean? And just completely loses it. And that's what like this. I want this to be like the timeline. You know, like the arc of Dylan. You know, goes from whatever trans activist to this big like celebrity dude. He's on Bud Light cans. You know, this and that, and then just cut to like 18 months
like
from
dark.
now in the Joker makeup. You know.
Just deal with him like drowning puppies and stuff.
Like the dark arc and
on a fucking watchtower somewhere.
Like has like goons laid out, you know, like in clown masks. And
probably what? That's 100 meters in feet, like 300 feet, 320.
A little bit more.
Feet somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's a little, or maybe it's a little less.
The capitalist in me wants to set up a megaphone sales stand. You know, exactly like 101 meters away from this place, you know, and advertise the distance that these things, you know, loud enough to be heard, 150
meter reach on these megaphones.
That's
like,
the new thing, man. Like 100-meter megaphones.
Just set up a PA system with like some big poles with speakers.
Have people pay to use it.
Big poles at a direction.
$5 a minute. Scream all the transphobic obscenities you want.
It's like the old like telescope things. You put the quarter in at the thing.
Just slurs.
Man, I might have to put my 31-foot ladder Mexico business on the back burner for now. I'll get this one up and running. Yeah, they kind of put the wall on pause. So I mean, what am I supposed to do, man? This whole thing worked out. A mile south of the border, 31-foot ladders.
I mean, now you can just go walk across. So
they'd be inexpensive, one-time use. You know, they can be, they don't have to be super sturdy. Maybe foldable. I don't know.
Look, why don't you just sell spoons? Like, I mean, sell shovels. Shovels
like
or spoons.
A barracuda business to get people from Cuba to the U.S. You know,
what do they call that? Barracudaing instead of coyoting?
I don't know.
I like it.
I'll set up a coyote stand, like just have some really scraggly looking dogs, and then when people are like, "Oh, you're a coyote, you're doing illegal stuff," no, I'm just selling pets,
selling
dogs. Nothing.
You sell like stuffed animals too, like that'd be cool. We should do that. We should do that. It should be like the morning after like coyote shop. We just sell like plush animals, coyotes, only in Mexico.
Well, speaking of selling dogs, have y'all heard the latest Tucker Carlson dog whistle?
Oh, I have not.
Tucker Carlson debuted his newest very scary phrase last night, and surprise, surprise, it was originally coined by a rabid white nationalist. The term is anarcho-tyranny, because if there's one thing anarchists love, it's tyranny. Tucker used this phrase to talk about the Trump indictment.
You get state-sponsored anarchy accompanied by political tyranny.
You gotta love state-sponsored anarchy. Without the state, you've just got sparkling chaos. Now, Tucker is obviously counting on his viewers to not think about it too hard, but he's also hoping that the origins of the phrase work as a dog whistle for his
Is
far-right.
this like a naked news segment?
term anarcho is, it originates from a prominent white nationalist writer named Sam Francis. He's been described as the philosopher king of the far right, and he coined the term in 1994 with a very angry article titled Anarcho-Tyranny USA. Want to guess what got him all riled up? Seatbelt laws. I'm not kidding. The entire first page.
I thought it was racist, though.
The article just spirals from there. Francis rants about crack houses and gun control, but the staying power was in that phrase at the top. Anarcho-tyranny. I mean, it sounds scary, I'll give him that, which is probably why D-list Republicans have used it as a hook for their tired columns for the last 30 years. The phrase has been applied to BLM protests, COVID restrictions, and now, of course, the Trump indictment. And Tucker will undoubtedly use this phrase again. It sounds way too menacing to leave it on the bench, and it's a perfect rallying cry for his far-right viewers. But wherever you hear the phrase anarcho-tyranny, just remember, Tucker and his disciples are using this term on purpose. They're merely trying to fill the shoes of the white nationalists who came before them.
See, this is what happens whenever like you have a man write something and you know that he knows that it won't like carry any weight when he says it, so he just finds a hot woman and he's just like, okay, they will watch because boobs, and you're gonna read this.
Boobs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you had any boobs.
Well, like it's funny that stuff like this because it's like, okay, he coined the term, therefore, like I use that term. I had no clue that was where it came from, or this dude, or whatever. And if
That's
you know, I mean,
you don't recognize your white supremacy.
I guess, but I mean,
you don't even know it anymore.
Like the COVID restrictions, right? I guess a perfect like example. And if okay, you guys can tell me if I'm using it right. You're the white supremacist here. Like like we're okay. The government, they facilitate riots, but then they arrest you when you try to defend your business, right? Like government is non-existent except to punish you. Or the great Simpsons line with Chief Wiggum, like, oh, I thought you said the law was powerless. No, the law was powerless to help you, not punish you. We're not going to help you solve the crime, but you try and solve the crime, we're going to put you in prison, that kind of thing. So it seems like a very valid term that pretty much anybody could find a use for.
Have you ever read the actual article, or there's even a YouTube video of it being read, the whole thing, like the Sam Francis's anarcho-tyranny? Like it's this. Okay, so this dumb bitch obviously never read it, because if you actually read it and then you look at the state of the U.S. today, unless you're just a completely brain dead moron, like the whole thing matches up perfectly with what we have in our society as it is now. Like it's insane. Like to actually read that, and then like, she gets hung up on the seatbelt thing, but like it's not wrong. Like it's right. And especially because it's a very simple thing that people can understand. That's why he uses that for such a significant portion of setting the stage for what anarcho-tyranny is.
Writing technique.
Because it's something that's easy to grasp. It's something that everybody has to deal with on a daily basis. So it makes it understandable, which clearly this bitch is like too dumb to understand how
using an example as an illustrative tool.
Yeah, like how writing to an audience works, because her entire audience only tunes in because ooh girl. So anyway,
blonde. Vagina.
Yeah, the whole thing is like I'll send y'all a link. Actually, I'll just post it in the I'll post it in the show notes or in the chat right here, and then y'all can come back and pull it later. But like, you can listen to the whole thing or read the whole thing. It's really, really well done, and it's a perfect mirror for what we are living through in today's USA.
So is he like actually like white supremacy, or is this just what she said? I'm not really familiar.
No,
with the guy,
that's
or is
just
that
what
just
she
she's
says.
saying. Okay.
Yeah, she's a dumb bitch.
Well, you never know, because according to her, this guy's basically Hitler, but like it could be absolutely nothing. You know what I mean?
I went through some of her other tweets and stuff just to see, like, because this is what I'm that retard. Like every time I see something from somebody, I have to go and look and see, like, get context for
why are they saying this?
Why are they saying this, and what are the other things that they say? And holy fuck, like this,
you get so much done and still find the time to stay so handsome.
Blonde is a thing that runs deep. Like it's hard to get away from that, and there are a select few that do manage to break free from the shackles of being a bimbo blonde, but they are exceptions to the rule, and this bitch is not an exception. She is the rule.
Is she even blonde? I didn't
What?
think I'd call her blonde. I didn't even think I'd call her blonde. Was she blonde? She's more
Mostly
brunette.
It might
blonde.
be dyed or something, but yeah, I think that was blonde.
I think my
What happens
hair
when you're
color.
used to people just telling you you're right and smart all the time? Boys used to
Trying to
tell
get
me
your
that I was
pants.
smart and funny too.
I used to get all that, and then I started losing my hair. Now it's just, everybody ignores me.
Yep.
Yeah, I still have my hair, and
Take
people
some of the
still
spark
ignore
out
me.
of
So.
Oh, is it a? I think it may be a symptom of a poor educational system. Speaking of which,
Nah, I'm sure it's doing good.
high schooler with a 4.1 GPA explains why she thinks she was.
I love this.
I had to put on the original. The original article was terrible. Like the way it was lined out.
Mhm.
I had to take it to the read-only version because it was hurting my head to look at the full layout. But so I'm sorry you don't get all of the usual ads that we get to get.
We don't get to see
Boring.
we don't get to see the dildo ads. For
So, what?
And of course the headline says that she was rejected from every college she applied to, but then it later goes on to explain that she actually got accepted by several colleges, just not the ones that she wanted to go to.
Yeah.
They weren't her
What
top
is a
choices.
4.1 GPA? What's a GPA out of now?
4.0 is the max, like as far as like, but you if you're in high school, they have where you can kind of do extra, get a little bit extra credit and
Okay.
go above.
Because I'd never
you take, like,
heard of
honors
like I
courses
thought
that
4
are-
was like that's it.
You can take
Maxed
honors
out.
courses that I believe they count towards certain like
Like an AP like
freshman
college credit or something.
Yeah, you get like freshman level college credit, and if you get an A in those, then you can get a higher than 4.0.
See, I think like if I was a college admissions person and I saw some high school kid with like a 4.1, I'd throw it out like right away.
Nerd.
Because I'd be like, no. Like,
I don't want this loser
alert.
dorking up my school.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
Did you read earlier on in that article? I think she's like, I did all the stuff, I took all these classes, I did all that, I wrote about my trauma experience or something, or I had my trauma experience. The way it was caged is so like
you have to. Get
we
your trauma
all have
experience
this
out
trauma
there.
experience, and this is part of the life experience. This is part of college admissions now. I had my trauma experience, like that alone, like.
Yeah, I found that
No.
part pretty sickening. Like I had my trauma experience. It's like, why is that a
I went out and got raped for nothing. I roofied myself at that party for nothing. Is that what you're telling me?
The telling thing about it was the reason, her reasoning for why she didn't get into all the big schools that she wanted to was not actually racism or sexism or anything like that. It was because her SAT scores were bad.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was the other part, right? You like read through all this stuff. You got like what'd you get, like an 860 or something?
Yeah.
On SATs, like, I'm sorry. Like
you're certifiably dumb.
Just because you know how to get through like a high school class, and let's face it, like high school is not high school that we went to. Like,
Well, that's
some
the
of the
thing
dumbest
is
people I knew had the best grades.
They have
they
have so dumbed down the educational system that it doesn't matter. Like that's
you
why
just
you
do
see
the
like
stuff.
inner city
you do
New York,
well.
inner city Atlanta,
Yeah.
inner city Philadelphia, inner city Baltimore, where all of these kids are passing and graduating with 4.0s, and they're literally illiterate, like cannot fucking read and write, but they graduate with 4.0s. So yeah,
Thanks, George Bush. Thanks.
So
George
yeah,
Bush.
your GPA doesn't mean a fucking thing. And okay, you were president of the honor society. What is that like? What's the requirement for that? Probably to check a bunch of
72
boxes
IQ.
that the same. That's probably the same list of requirements to be vice president of the United States.
Except for the 35 years old part.
Right.
Yeah.
Slurp,
Naturally,
Well, and you gotta get down on your knees a few times,
That's borderline. Careful. I do like, yeah, man, that article was a tough read. I actually read that one because I was just so like aggravated. You know, I usually
It's
don't read
just-
them. I just let Justin read them.
Well, the whole thing is such garbage. Like it's just like you expect the way that's built up with the headline that it's gonna be some big like gotcha thing, and then it turns out it's just because this chick's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like
Sorry about your luck. I don't know. Did you see the thing about the problem with moving to ruralities is not having intellectuals to engage with? It's like, all right, fucker. Like some of the dumbest
Oh
people
my
I know
God,
have
yeah.
the most degrees, and some of the smartest people I know didn't graduate high school. Like what you consider intellectual is subjective.
But well, and even then, like, do you really want to be like surrounded by some of the most miserable cunts? Like, I mean, like the super intellectual type that live in the cities, like, man, like you can't have a conversation. Like that's like TDS Central. Like that's who these intellects are. Like it's not. I mean, the type of intellectualism you're speaking about is you know, very one-sided. It's not real by any sense. You know, I don't care. You want to go ahead and take apart words and let's, you know, dissect, you know, everything we live in this postmodern, you know, go for it. I want nothing to do with that. Let you guys argue about that crap.
It's like you just make a statement, and all of a sudden they have to go on like a 30-minute tirade about like why you're wrong, and you know what the oh well you use that word incorrectly. You know this what this word actually means is freaking nerds.
Well, like, and there was somebody in the comments on that talked about how somewhere in like rural Oklahoma back in the 70s, they didn't have access to potable water. So what they did was they dropped they dug a hole, and they dropped a big tank down in the hole to and poked holes in it where the swamp water would leach into it, and then it was pumped from that big tank up through a filtration system so that they could actually get water, because they didn't have like any other way to. The only water in the area was this giant swamp. And some intellectual, I'm sure, in the comments on like the story of how they got water, like these redneck fuckers out in the middle of BFE Oklahoma in a swamp got potable water, was the response was, well, why didn't they just buy bottled water? It's like, you're not gonna fucking make it, dude. Like, you, as soon as the world ends, put a bullet in your head and do the rest of us a favor. Like, don't force me to have to waste that nickel, or at this point, like almost $1.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Redneck ingenuity, man. That's worth more than anything. But you think about that too. Like, what is intellectualism?
around here we call it something different, but
it's all like philosophy and theory. You know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like,
show me the practical use for that. How is that going to help
well
you
and
make
good
it through?
for like, right?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that can be like,
you're not going to build a car.
important to
You're not gonna figure
learn,
out how to
but
build a car. Just like,
you can't just do the intellectual shit, though.
I'm lagging hard. Apparently.
You know what I mean? Like, you can, I mean, I do think, whatever, some, I don't say theory, but whatever, some sort of heady shit or some philosophical shit or whatever, that's fine, but you can't just learn that, because then if nothing else, you just end up a fucking snob who thinks you know everything, and just thinks you know what's best for everybody, and doesn't actually know a goddamn thing about anything, it's, I don't know. I just feel like people today don't have like people need damn hobbies, something. They just need something to do. People just have nothing to do. They work, and then it's Netflix. The closest thing to a hobby, and no offense or anything, Trey, obviously, but is video games. You know what I mean? That's something people will come home and put time into.
Because you can't. So here's the thing: is they don't like. Nowhere wants you to, and Justin would disagree with me on this, but there's a lot of the way businesses run now, and obviously they want to do this whole work hard thing, and obviously, I get doing your job while you're there, but there's to an extent of okay, well, people who need to put in 60-hour work week to survive. To be able to to be able to pay for everything and do all the things that they need to do in their daily life. And then at the end of the day, when they get done with work, like what are they going to do? Like can they go? They can't go to a bowling league because bowling alleys are shutting down
anymore.
You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything like without either the consequence of like time or money. There's all these factors that are screwing with people. Like things are getting more expensive. There's not enough time. You don't have it's just a really screwy situation that people can't have any leisure time, which is you can't do hobbies anymore because your work has to be your hobby. And your life has to be your secondary hobby, I guess. Like that's basically what it is, either work or life, and that's what sucks people. Like.
Children, that's your hobby.
Well, just go back when our parents weren't attentive, and they got to do what they wanted. My dad still got plenty of drinking done.
Well, I think that's part of the problem is there's too much of this like helicopter parent mentality that they think they have to be holding their kids' hands everywhere they go, everything they do 100% of the time.
Some kids.
I remember
if you let your kid do that, you'd be getting him out of jail in a couple.
Well, there was one summer where there was some a bunch of moms that we went to church with that were complaining about how terrible their kids were being that day, and I said, I locked mine out of the house about an hour and a half ago and told them don't come back until I call for you. And they were all like, "Oh, you can't do that." I'm like, been doing it for an hour and a half. Like my life is perfectly fine.
They're probably okay out there.
Yeah, there's other kids in the neighborhood. I'm sure they're fine. Like if they die, other kids are dying too. Like I'm not the only one responsible.
Well, that
here.
makes it better.
Like
it's
gonna be all right.
advocating like
bounce.
Don't worry, we'll lose all of them.
If it's gonna be one kid dying, as long as all of them die,
they're not going to send everybody in our neighborhood to jail for negligence.
Right. And you can't have just one set of parents that suddenly has all this free time on their hands. It's got to happen to a few of them, together.
Right.
This is
we might
something
want to go to
like
the lake together or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been like, I don't know. I feel like we, as a culture, we're like miserable, right? Like people are less happy, and like we have too many choices. We have too many ideas. Like we think we have all this, like, we should have free time to do this. We should have like 5 different hobbies. Like why is that even like an idea? Like you have a million choices when you open the fridge. You don't have to get your water out of the swamp and figure out how to distill it. Like we got it pretty good. And like, I think
we do. And
we've learned how
that's
not
why you
be
need something
content with like what we have. Like I understand contentment is like sort of settling, but at the same time, like if you're constantly reaching for the stars, like you gotta.
Working the crazy schedule that I work, plus doing all of the 6 different shows that I do, and having kids and doing animals and gardens and everything else. What all of this has taught me over the last couple of years is that everybody has more than enough time to do anything and everything they want to, or to do absolutely nothing at all. And it's all about how people manage their time. Like, I know my schedule is definitely not for everybody. Most people would probably put a bullet in their head if they did this for more than a week. But it's what I like. Like, I love this shit. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do a show with Clyde once a week and play video games with Trey and Jay a couple times a week, and do my own show twice a week, and do Peddling Fiction twice a week, and do the Clock Management Show once a week, and manage kids and all of their schedules, plus the fact that I work 48 hours over a 4-day period and at night. It's all insane, but everybody has more than enough time and money to do whatever the fuck they want, but people suck at time and money management. And so everybody's miserable and unhappy all the time because they don't know how the fuck to manage their own lives. And I don't know, maybe I should just drop everything and go into like a human being micromanaging profession and teach people how to like not suck
Be a
at
life coach.
not suck at managing everything. I'm not calling it a life coach. That doesn't exist. That's some sort of gay bullshit.
Are you saying life coaches are retarded?
Fuck, I didn't have the thankful. Like, I didn't know what time it was.
No, people who hire.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.